The Emerge's empire had dominated this sector of space for centuries. Their fleets were unrivaled, their armies vast, their authority unquestioned. Their war against the Valkyr Dominion had raged for over 50 years, a relentless conflict of devastation and bloodshed spanning countless worlds. Today, another battle was unfolding, a brutal clash in the Cthulhu system, where both factions had assembled their most formidable warships. The sky above the burning planet, Cthulhu 4, was ablaze with fire. Thousands of vessels littered the battlefield, exchanging torrents of searing energy. The Emerge's empire's dreadnoughts unleashed devastating barges, their colossal cannons ripping through enemy formations. The Valkyr war beasts, biological ships encased in impenetrable armor, shrieked through space, discharging deadly plasma storms. Neither side was willing to retreat. Admiral Corvin of the Emerge's empire stood tall on the command deck of the battleship Iron Fist. His golden uniform shimmered under the glow of distant explosions. His face remained stoic, but his mind was a whirlwind of calculations, analyzing every movement of the enemy. "Advance!" he commanded. "Destroy their command ship. This war ends today." His officers nodded, unwavering in their belief in victory. Then the alarms blared. "Unidentified object detected," a bridge officer shouted. Corvin turned sharply. "Another Valkyr fleet?" "No, Admiral." The officer's voice trembled. "It's something else." A lone ship materialized at the fringes of the battlefield. Unlike anything recorded in galactic history, it was sleek, dark, and moved with an impossible swiftness. It bore no markings of the Valkyr, nor did it belong to the Emerge's empire. It was unknown. Undeterred by the chaos, the enigmatic vessel drifted forward. Corvin narrowed his eyes. "Open a channel. Demand identification." The communications officer complied. No response. The ship advanced, heedless of all hails. The Valkyr, too, had noticed the intruder. Both sides hesitated, weapons still primed, but now fixated on the mysterious newcomer. Then the scanners revealed its designation. TU-Des, Indomitable. Origin, human. ****. Corvin's blood ran cold. Human, impossible. The Galactic archives contained scant details about humans. A minor species, barely venturing beyond their home system. Their technology was rudimentary. They had no fleets, no influence. So why was a human warship here, in the middle of the most pivotal battle of the war? Corvin turned to his second-in-command. "Commander Veal, how did they get here? Why didn't our sensors detect them sooner?" Veal looked equally disturbed. "I don't know, Admiral. It just appeared." Corvin clenched his fists. Impossible. No ship could bypass their deep space scanners. No vessel could jump this close to a battlefield undetected. And yet, the Indomitable had done just that. Suddenly, a transmission broadcast across all frequencies. A deep, steady voice resonated through the void. "This is the Terran warship, Indomitable. The war ends now." A suffocating silence gripped the battlefield. The Valkyr commanders hesitated. The Emerge's empire's fleet faltered. Then the Indomitable fired. A single, precise energy beam tore through space at unimaginable speed, striking one of the largest Valkyr war beasts. The creature's massive form quivered before detonating in a catastrophic chain reaction. Its energy core destabilized, unleashing a wave of destruction that obliterated an entire Valkyr fleet formation. Shock rippled through the battlefield. No weapon should be that powerful. No ship should be that fast. The Valkyr forces panicked, launching every available weapon at the human warship. Missiles, plasma bolts, disruptor beams. Not a single shot connected. The Indomitable moved like a phantom, evading every attack with terrifying precision. "This isn't possible," Veal whispered. Corvin's grip tightened. "It seems humanity has advanced far beyond what we imagined. The war had just changed forever. The galactic powers react ****. The battlefield remained frozen in disbelief. The two most dominant factions in the galaxy had spent centuries perfecting warships capable of planetary annihilation. They had faced countless adversaries, crushed rebellions, and survived existential threats. Yet this This was something beyond comprehension. Admiral Corvin's mind raced. Humanity was supposed to be weak, primitive, and yet here was a single Terran warship outmaneuvering entire fleets, obliterating ships with uncanny precision, and most disturbingly, not even struggling. On the opposite side, the Valkyr fleet was in full retreat. Warlord Karf, commander of the Valkyr forces, snarled in disbelief. That ship, it should not exist. The Valkyr Dominion, a species engineered for war, had built ships designed to crush their enemies with sheer brute force. And yet, their strongest vessel had been annihilated in mere seconds. Focus all firepower on the Terran vessel. Karf roared. Do not hold back. Hundreds of Valkyr warships unleashed their arsenal. Space ignited with torrents of green and blue plasma, missile trails streaking toward the Indomitable. For the first time, Corvin and his crew watched with morbid fascination. Would this human ship finally be overwhelmed? Then, the unthinkable happened. The Indomitable did not block the attacks. It did not absorb them with shields. It simply vanished. Gasps filled the command deck of the Iron Fist. Where did it go? Corvin's voice was sharp. Scanners detected nothing. No ship, no energy signature. As if the warship had never existed at all. An instant later, explosions rocked the Valkyr fleet from behind. The Indomitable had reappeared, its cannons already carving through enemy lines with pinpoint accuracy. How did it move so fast? Veal whispered, horror creeping into his tone. Corvin clenched his fists. That's not speed. That's something else entirely. This technology, this power, was beyond anything in the Galactic database. Not even the ancient precursors had demonstrated such abilities. And worst of all, this was just one ship. If the humans had more, if this was just a scout, then the galaxy was in far greater danger than anyone had ever imagined. At the head of the War Council, Chancellor Vork stood, a cold, calculating leader with obsidian-black eyes and a mind sharper than any blade. His people, the Zarkai, had ruled the galactic economy for generations, but even their vast intelligence networks had no answers for the Indomitable. He slammed a clawed hand against the table. This Terran ship cannot be the only one, he hissed. If humanity has an entire fleet of warships like this, they could challenge us all. A Zealer Imperium general spoke next, his voice dripping with contempt. They destroyed the Valkyr in minutes. If they turn their weapons on us, we may not have time to respond. Murmurs of unease spread across the chamber. Independent warlords, trade syndicates, military elites, all had spent their lives believing humanity was insignificant. Now, a single Terran warship had proven them wrong. Then we must act, Vorks declared. His dark gaze swept across the council. The longer we wait, the more time the humans have to grow stronger. We cannot allow this. A silence followed, then a voice, hesitant but firm, spoke from the shadows. What do you propose? Vork smiled. A preemptive strike. Gasps filled the chamber. Some leaders recoiled in shock, while others nodded slowly, considering the possibility. We cannot attack humanity directly, a diplomat from the Trini Syndicate warned. Their home system is too far, and we don't know how many of these warships they have. Vorks tapped his fingers against the table, his expression unreadable. Then we do not attack Earth. He leaned forward. We trapped the Indomitable. The plan was simple but dangerous. A distress signal would be staged from a neutral colony, claiming a war criminal was hiding there. The message would be encrypted with Terran translation protocols, a clear bait for human intervention. If the Indomitable took the bait, a combined fleet of over 500 warships from multiple factions would be waiting, ready to overwhelm it with sheer numbers. This is our only chance, Vork said coldly. If we do nothing, we may find ourselves kneeling before a new galactic ruler. None of the leaders liked the plan, but they feared what would happen if they did nothing. The trap was set. Now they waited. The Indomitable takes the bait. A few days later, deep in uncharted space, the bridge of the Indomitable was calm. Captain Elias Carter leaned back in his chair, scanning the incoming reports. The galaxy had gone silent since their battle at Kra. Too silent. It was as if the empires were waiting, planning something. "Sir," Lieutenant Harlow called from the comm station, breaking the silence. "We're picking up a distress signal." Carter arched an eyebrow. "Source: a neutral colony on the edge of the Tarai border. Message says they've identified a wanted war criminal, someone responsible for multiple planetary massacres. They're requesting help before local warlords arrive." Carter frowned. Something about this felt wrong. He glanced at his tactical officer, Commander June Vasquez. "Thoughts?" She narrowed her eyes. "It's too convenient. The way this message is structured, it's designed for us to intercept it." Carter nodded slowly. He could feel it too. A trap? But sometimes the best way to expose an enemy's true intentions was to let them think their plan was working. "Set course for the colony," he ordered. Vasquez gave him a sharp look. "You sure, sir?" A slow, confident smile crossed Carter's face. "They think they can trap us?" His voice was calm, but held an edge of amusement. "Let's show them what happens when you corner a Terran warship." The battle begins. The Indomitable dropped out of warp above the colony, and instantly the trap was sprung. Hundreds of warships decloaked, surrounding the human vessel from all sides. Destroyers, dreadnoughts, and planetary siege carriers formed an unbreakable ring of death. A voice boomed over the comms. "This is High Admiral Yak of the Galactic Coalition. You are surrounded. Power down your weapons and surrender immediately." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Carter stared at the massive fleet surrounding them. His crew remained calm. This was exactly what they had expected. He leaned forward in his chair, expression unreadable. "Surrender?" His voice was almost amused. He turned to his weapons officer. "Lock onto the nearest command ship." The officer grinned. Carter activated the comms. "I'll give you one chance," he said coldly. "Stand down, where you'll learn why the Valkyr didn't live to tell their story." Admiral Yak hesitated. He had expected the humans to negotiate. He had expected them to be afraid. Instead, they were ready. A terrible realization hit him. We didn't trap the Indomitable. It trapped us. And then the first shot was fired. The ultimate showdown. The Indomitable moved, not like a traditional warship, but with impossible speed. A single, focused energy beam cut through space, piercing the Coalition's nearest command ship. The massive dreadnought didn't just explode. It ruptured, detonating in a chain reaction that sent shock waves through the fleet. What kind of weapon was that? Before the order to regroup could be issued, the Indomitable vanished. One moment there, the next, gone from all sensors. Then, another explosion. The Indomitable had reappeared behind the enemy fleet, striking from the rear with surgical precision. Solid slugs fired at relativistic speeds tore through even the strongest shields like paper. Entire squadrons vanished in seconds. This isn't a warship," one officer whispered. "It's a monster." Admiral Yak gritted his teeth. "Enough." Hundreds of warships unleashed their firepower in a desperate barrage. But the Indomitable did the impossible. It dodged every shot. Every missile, every energy disruptor, avoided before it was even fired. "It's reading our movements," a Zealer tactician shouted. "How?" Yak's eyes widened in horror. "No fleet in the galaxy can react this perfectly." His voice dropped to a whisper. "This isn't just a ship. It's an executioner." The turning point. The battle raged on, but there was no longer any doubt. The Indomitable tore through the Coalition fleet, one ship at a time. Then, its primary weapon began to charge again, glowing with an eerie blue light. Yak froze. "Fall back. Retreat." Too late. The Indomitable fired. A single beam of concentrated energy sliced through the enemy fleet. Hundreds of warships were vaporized instantly. The battlefield became a graveyard of twisted metal, burning wreckage, and silence. And the Indomitable remained untouched. A galaxy changed forever. Captain Carter's voice echoed across the ruined battlefield. "Your leaders tried to destroy us before understanding who we are." His voice hardened. "Let this be a lesson. We are not conquerors. We are not tyrants. But we are not prey. A final warning. Come for us again, and there will be nothing left to bury." And like a shadow slipping through the void, the Indomitable vanished. The galaxy would never be the same again.